month of May. Deputies continued to address the prior calls reference unlicensed cars, trucks, trailers, and things like that parking on the street, and we've made contact with owners and took enforcement action where necessary. If you have anything like that going on in your neighborhood, please continue to call it in. We'll send somebody out to take a look and see what can be done. I think the moratorium on the license plate renewals is about to expire, so we'll be taking a look at some of those vehicles here in the short term in the next few weeks. We still had the issue of the complaints regarding recreational firearms usage on private properties. I sent the noise ordinance for the township over to the prosecutor's office for a review to determine whether it could be used to take any kind of enforcement action on that topic. They sent it back and deemed that it could not be, and that they pointed out that it actually stands completely mute on the topic of firearms, so that cannot be used to do any type of enforcement pertaining to those firearms. We're continuing to meet and plan for the upcoming fair that'll take place July 11th through 17th. We're going to have deputies in the on the fairgrounds again this year, acting in a security capacity, law enforcement capacity to keep the inside of the event secure, and then we'll be obviously monitoring traffic and things in and around the township and in and around the fairgrounds to make that go as smooth as possible. Continue to get information pertaining to the 9/11 Freedom Ride, which is going to be held on September 11th this year. That'll be a motorcycle ride. It will pass partly through Jefferson Township. It used to depart Jefferson Township in the previous years, but this is going to depart from a location in Moraine and then just pass through Jefferson Township. So we will monitor any issues with traffic or anything that may create. Right now we're working on a program that some of the other districts are doing where we're actually sending some of our newer deputies, some of our deputies that are assigned to the Jefferson Township beat through to work with a detective for a pay period to give them a perspective on that side of the job. What we're hoping to accomplish with that is that deputies will become more well-versed on the follow-up portion of criminal complaints, burglaries and things like that, so that when we put them back in the capacity of being the initial responder to file that report, there'll be certain things they can ask for, look at, think about while they're there doing that will help the detective in the long run. Just a reminder, if you do have any information you want to pass along, obviously the dispatch center can be utilized to contact the deputy, have a deputy come out to your residence, but we also do monitor and receive the tips from Crime Stoppers. So if you had anything there that you wanted to pass along and remain anonymous on, you could call that 222 stop and provide that information there. Traffic issues referenced for the month of May. We investigated 9 crashes. It was a decrease of 1 crash, 10% over last year. We had 5 property damage crashes, 4 minor injury crashes, and 5 people were injured in those crashes. We had 3 crashes investigated as hit and runs. None of them involved pedestrians, and 3 of the crashes involved impaired drivers. Fridays were the busiest day of the month, accounting for 3 of the total crashes, 3 of the 9. And failure to maintain reasonable control and speed were the leading causative factors at 3 each. State Route 4 solved the bulk of the crashes with 3 of them, followed by US 35 with 2, and then everything else was broken up on different roadways throughout the township. Deputies made 58 traffic stops during May, issued 13 citations for moving violations, 1 driving under suspension citation, 2 non-moving citations, 2 seatbelt citations, and 5 citations for driving impaired. Environmental crimes, we had no new dumping complaints in Jefferson for May. We had a couple calls come in that came in as dumping complaints, and when we went out and looked at them, they were actually something else, slightly different, where it looked like something may have been going on, but it actually ended up being something else. So we looked at and addressed those. During May, the inmate work crews were out here working in the township. They've completed all the roads that were on the list for the township for this year. So they've kind of moved out of the area and they're working on some other areas of the county right now. If you guys get anything, any complaints, anything comes in that you may want to utilize those crews, get with me, let me know. Typically at the end of the year, we might get caught up to the point where we start over on some areas or have some time to address areas again, or add on some areas. But we are through all of our roadways for the year. Totals for the month of May, we had 708 calls for service, generated 114 reports. We requested forensic services out here 19 times. Deputies made 4 felony arrests and 14 misdemeanor arrests. Again, 58 traffic stops, 31 alarm checks, 9 animal complaints. Domestic incidents kind of up a little bit with TPO violations at 17. 6 grand theft auto or driving without consent complaints. We recovered 2 stolens. Had 8 mental health related calls, 5 neighbor disputes, 19 requests for peace officers. Checked on the bars 81 times. Checked out suspicious vehicles or subjects 39 times. Vacation house checks 34, and we made 14 welfare checks on citizens within the township. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Last report, zoning. Justin, do you have anything to add from earlier for zoning?
I think he's not on. I think I saw his screen go off.
Okay. That concludes departmental reports. Comments by citizens. Anybody wishing to speak, please open with your name and address, and you have the floor for 3 minutes.
This is Sheila Back, 1700 Alamo Court. The first thing is, like, how do we, we only get 3 minutes, so so if I want to address something on one of the different reports, it'll take a lot longer trying to address all those reports if I wait and do it all at one time. So I don't know, maybe you guys can rethink that, but it takes a lot longer than 3 minutes to kind of get all reports addressed. So there are a couple of things. I contacted Roy yesterday, I think, about there's a house at 5406 Tucson Drive. These people have put a huge pool in the front yard, in the very front yard, and it's trash all over the place. So I think Roy said he was going to give that information to somebody. Were you able to pass that on, Roy?
Yes. Can you comment, Mr. Wolf?
Yes, both Justin Oshefsky and Tony McKee visited the property today. And there are violations there. And so they came back to the office and began the paperwork on those things. They're researching the zoning code about the pool. They trash and everything is Tony's, responsibility. So they are addressing it as of today.
Okay, thank you, because that pool is closer to the neighbor's house than it is the people that actually own the pool. So it's really bad. Some kids can get in there and drown. My second is there is on 1770 Hopewell, which is the McGinnis address. There are multiple cars parked. They're junk cars. They're not even operable, and they've been there for years. The neighbor is complaining that her property value is going down because it looks really bad. So this is 1770 Hopewell. It's junk cars, old trucks, all that. That's not in the driveway. It's parked in the grass next to the driveway. Is there some kind of policy about parking on the cement if you have a driveway? Because this is in the grass.
I believe there is in the code enforcement manual, I believe there's something there about parking on a firm surface. We had another home last summer where someone was parking in the yard, and Tony McKee, sent them the legal notice, and they stopped doing it. So, Ms. Mack, I will report this to Tony in the morning, and he'll go out and make a.
Okay, thank you, Steve. And then the last, as far as cars, is I spoke with a lady on Belcourt. She lives up there. She says she's reported multiple times to the sheriff department about it's a silver car. It's in front of 4624 Belcourt Drive. She says that car's been sitting there for years, and she tries to report it. And from what she says to me, the sheriff that comes out tells her pretty much, she says they pretty much say, well, they have, bigger things that they could be doing. That's her statement to me, not mine. So I do want to see if the sheriff could go up and check out that vehicle. The actual grass was growing up in front of and behind this vehicle. That's how long it's been sitting there. So if they could please check that. Then just a couple other things. I noticed that there's a Kyle Humphrey and a Kevin Humphreys. Are they related?
Yes.
Oh, they're related. Oh, okay. And then I know I asked about this all the time. I asked about the grass being blown on the street. More and more people are doing this. And not only are the people doing it, the road department that cuts the grass on the corner of Derby and Kimmel, and I believe, I'm not sure about this, I believe they cut the grass on Blairwood and Derby. They're blowing the grass in the street and on the sidewalk and just leaving it there. So I just wanted to comment about that. That it's illegal to blow it on the street, and it shouldn't really be left on the sidewalk. And I think these are all properties that Jefferson owns. So I did want to say that. And then the last thing I wanted to follow up on is I sent an email to Captain Flagg to see when we will be able to, NAJT will be able to get back in to resume our meetings.
Number one, I've got a car that's going over there to 4624 Belcourt Drive now.
Okay.
That is nothing that I'm familiar with. So as far as it being reported, I don't know. We've been on Belcourt for other instances, and we've had them taking a proactive stance on this, but somebody's heading over there now to look at it. As far as our meeting room, we're going to still remain closed for public gatherings. That has become our basically our meeting room now, because we're not doing all of our meetings in public. We're utilizing that most days of the week, and then we've got training that's occurring in there quite frequently, where we're storing stuff in there. So for the summer months, it's probably not going to be something that we open back up to do. We'll look at it toward the fall, but and that'll just depend on what becomes with the COVID situation leading back into the fall.
Okay, I want to. So we don't have money to fix the roads. We have money to hire all these extra people for the roads. Then you have people that want to work and do things out in the township, and we don't have anywhere to meet. So I don't see how you all are working in collaboration with the community for those people who actually want to try to get out here and do something because they love their community. And this is for all of you all. That just makes no sense to me. And I'm going to go ahead and pass, because every time I turn around, it's like we can't get our sewer drains fixed. We can't get the roads paved. We can't get this, but we can give people increase in pay we can continue to hire more and more people. And that's really sad to me. And if you don't see something wrong with that, then there's a big issue and something's missing. So I would hope the trustees will sit down and think about that. And I'm done.
Does anybody else want to address the trustees?
I do
81,
have a question. Linda Rowley, 246 South Diamond Mill Road. I do have a question. Last meeting I asked, and I think Roy Mann answered. He said that give him 2 weeks and he would have information on the minutes. He said that he didn't have it then, but in 2 weeks he would definitely have it. And I have not heard that mentioned this evening. Wondering, it's been more than 2 weeks. Wondering what the conclusion to that was so that we can have printed minutes as residents to be able to flip back through for the meetings.
Okay, we have not resolved that issue yet. When we make this next hiring, when the next hiring is done, we will address those minutes at that time if they have not been addressed before then.
Okay, thank you. And another question that I have that I haven't heard an answer to tonight was that the road department, I understand, went to spray school. Do we have new sprayers that can go along like 40 in the roads that need sprayed?
We do not have the equipment to fully do that. We also are waiting on them to pass that class. Some of them passed section 1, but they didn't pass section 2, so they're going back to retest. So at this point, other than Mr. McLaughlin, there is no one that's certified. I went and bought a 3-point hitch sprayer at the Preble County Fairgrounds a year ago to prepare for us doing this. But that's the only spraying equipment that we have other than handheld, for, the little 2-gallon or whatever. But none of that can be done until they pass their test.
Okay, and has 40 Road been, we drove it the other night just to see, and it's really bad shape. Have they been working on that, or is there really anything they can do to that?
It's very limited to none. You have to do a total rebuild on that road at this point. It should have been done 15 or 10 years ago, and it was never touched. So when a road, as you might know your own driveway, as a road gets beyond a certain disrepair, it's a total rebuild. So my suggestion to the trustees, that's why I brought it up in a couple meetings ago and say how bad it is. They're going to have to apply for some kind of grant to be able to rebuild that, because you don't have enough money when you consider that an asphalt road with the proper repairs of the drainage pipes below it, it runs a mile about $100,000, and that is much longer than a mile. So, and that, so they are going to have to make decisions as trustees, because all 3 of them by the Ohio Revised Code are held responsible for the condition of all roads. And so that you're right, it is bad, and we need help on that road. But because it's the thinnest road, the lowest traffic count road, and the limited access road, for whatever reason, the township neglected it and did not work on it over the years.
Thank you.
Do any other residents wish to address the Board of Trustees?
81-43-6 needs unmuted. Just a second.
Okay, that concludes public comments. Trustee reports. Mr.
No, wait a
McLaughlin, you're up.
minute. 81-43-6 needs to be unmuted so she can speak. If you look at her, she's trying to talk. Whoever that is, 81-43-6, unmute her so she can talk.
She has to unmute herself.
I thought Jim asked to mute her a while back when she had background noise. Sorry.
Well, I'm able, as a host, to mute her, but she can punch her button to unmute, and it automatically disqualifies it. So, ma'am, if you can hit your button to unmute. You have to hit your button to unmute.
If you see the microphone button, it's got a line through it. Click
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Tracy. This is Jeanette Gibson, and I live on Soldiers Home, West Carrollton Road. And this is toward the zoning. I believe I started asking questions in 2018, but and then COVID hit, and then I had a total spinal fusion. So I'm just now getting back to the zoning of the small pocket is Soldiers Home and Tony Drive. We need to change the area where we're zoning, because this is where we're having all this unwelcome recreational gun shooting. It's on Soldiers Home, there's 2 houses there, and on Frytown. So I know we just got someone new, and I've been sending messages. So I'm hoping to get back with him, or he can get back with me. My number's 937-263-2940, Jeanette Gibson. I would appreciate him giving me a call at his earliest convenience. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other residents wishing to address the Board of Trustees? Okay, trustee reports. Mr. McLaughlin.
Yes, Trustee McLaughlin. So thanks for telling me about the lack of spray classes. That's fine. I'll try to get out this weekend. Depends on the weather, what the weather's doing. But I'll work on getting some stuff sprayed up at the cemetery and different places, the fire stations. I do appreciate that. I did speak with some residents about some zoning issues, and now that we have a new hire and I've gotten his contact information, I'll pass that information out to those people and let them get a hold of him. And that's about all I got. Thank you.
Trustee Mann.
Okay, I'm going to be working on the fire engine specifications with the fire department and that committee. So the quicker we can get the specifications done is going to be the sooner we can send our RFPs out so we can get this fire engine, fire tanker in. I will find out some information, and hopefully at the next meeting, the chief could give us a few pointers on what they are on some of the things we selected on that. As far as we have 2 employees that we have to get some job descriptions done. So each trustee is working on those to come up with a list to give it to the administrator so we can we can hire those individuals. And we are hoping in this process to be able to resolve this issue. If we had not before that, with these minutes to get that done. And then MBRPC is a committee that's downtown, and there's different things that they are becoming involved in, and everyone is going out and purchasing electric cars. So some of the communities are putting in electric stations for people to charge up their cars. This is going to be something new. So if you have not considered an electric car, you may think about that, because that's the way we're headed. And also the advisory council has given out a list of COVID shots. And they are throwing away shots because of people not going to take those shots. And we've got 8% approximately 8% of the world has been vaccinated so far. In the U.S., we're about 130 million people. So we really don't have half our population done. So when we have this opening at Calumet Center, the trustees, we're going to come together. We're going to find out what the law is. So we got somebody working on that now. And then if we're going to put up to wear a mask when you attend that meeting, unless we have a decision that we cannot do that. So one way or the other, we will resolve that issue. So I want to hope everybody enjoy the holiday that's coming up, and hope that everyone gets that shot and wear your mask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Mann. Just like to remind everyone that we are back to live in-person meetings starting with July. We'll put that on the website, get the word out so everybody can attend. Please pass the word to your neighbors. That's all I have. Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Trustee McGuire,
Yes.
Trustee Mann,
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Okay, we're adjourned at 8:07 p.m. Thank you, trustees. Good night, everyone.
Good night.